to the queen to tell her her subjects had no bread. Do you know what she said?
Let them eat cake.
Who took the bomb?
We're getting screwed, man. Every time we turn around, we're getting screwed. Oh, the revolution's going to be through podcasting for sure. That's the only way we talk. It's the little guys that take the brunt of everything. It's got to stop. Peasants, man. We're just peasants. Every one of us. You watch those old movies, you see the peasants in the background with the kings and queens walking around. We're those people. We're those people. Good morning, peasants. Welcome to another episode of The Peasant's Perspective. What are you over there ahhing about?
Oh, I just like the volume today.
You like the volume today?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, well, everybody else, let me know if it's good. Carlene, good morning, y'all. You made it. You beat Ponyboy to the good morning. That's pretty good. Ron, I saw something today that just broke my heart.
Oh, no.
And of all the news stories that hit the wires this morning, this one right here, it's actually last night that it hit. I was really devastated. What's inside the McRib? McDonald's hit with class action lawsuit claiming the sandwich doesn't contain rib meat.
I knew it.
This is a crime against nature. People have to go to prison over this. Okay. McDonald's says a federal class action lawsuit claiming it misled millions by marketing the McRib as real pork rib distorts the facts. The 45-page complaint, 45 pages, filed on December 23rd, 2025 in the U.S. District Court of the Northern District of Illinois by Peter Lee, Charles Lynch, Dorian Baker, and Derek Wilson. Horrible people who should have kept this secret to themselves. These people right here, they should have just shut up. Take issue with the product's name and presentation, notably the term McRib. That its rib-shaped patty, which they say would lead a reasonable consumer to believe the sandwich includes real rib meat when there is none. According to the complaint, the McRib is actually made up of restructured pork, which combines cuts such as shoulder, okay, heart, not on my menu, tripe, don't even know what that is, and scalded stomach, none of which qualify as rib meat. Okay, hold on a second. So when I order the delicious, juicy, dripping with barbecue sauce McRib sandwich, I'm ordering a little bit of shoulder, heart, tripe, and scalded stomach
with some sauce.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm out. I'm never eating another McRib again. These people have completely ruined it for me. What's that? In the movie The Matrix, there's a scene where one of the characters is in the restaurant and he's deciding he wants back in the Matrix, right? And he's like eating a steak and he's like, it just doesn't taste the same when you know it's not real. That's how I feel now. Like, I just want to go back to believing the McRib was a McRib sandwich. You know what I mean? Anyways, I thought that was kind of fun. All right. It's January 6th today, 5 years ago, about this time in the morning. I was walking around DC thinking, what a great day.
I'm on top of the world.
Little did I know the next 4 years of my life were going to be like hell. But yeah, lots of fun. It was the last day of freedom I had because tomorrow, January 7th, 5 years ago, I was indicted.
Oh.
Capitol Police Captain Michael Byrd's wife runs a licensed Maryland daycare. Do you know where this story's going? Are you kind of picking up what I'm putting down already? Yeah. Kaliska Byrd runs a family daycare from their Brandywine home, licensed to care for up to 8 children aged 6 weeks to 12 years, offering preschool programs, meals, and a nut-free workspace from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. The operation meets Maryland's requirements for background checks, training, and inspections, but has no parent reviews online and receives no confirmed subsidies from state child care funds. Critics online labeled it a grift linked to Byrd's cleared role in fatally shooting Babbitt as she climbed through the Capitol door during the riot, reviving debates over his accountability amid broader scrutiny of child care funding. So here's the gist. Libs of TikTok posted this, and so did Paul Sperry, very credible reporter here. Capitol Police Officer Michael Byrd, who shot unarmed Ashley Babbitt on January 6th, reportedly has a taxpayer-funded daycare in his home run by his wife. Because, of course, he does. So there's their daycare.
Oh, wow.
I know, right? These daycare places, turns out he's taken somewhere since 2008 around $190 million through this daycare. This daycare, Ron, you want to build a storage unit facility here? You're missing the boat. You just got to run daycare out of your garage over
Oh
there.
my gosh.
190 million since 2008. You know construction companies that haven't run 190 million through their business, and they've been busy.
All of them.
They've been busy.
Maybe all of them put together.
190 million, and that's
Damn.
reported through Paul Sperry.
That's
Guys,
incredible.
Like this is the gentleman who shot Ashley Babbitt. That's the guy. 190 million running through his wife's daycare home.
Okay.
Why does he even have a job? Makes you wonder. This is Michael Fanone. Now, this is just to remember.
It does. January
January 6th, big day. This is one of the Capitol Hill police officers. We got to give them their due. Let them say their piece. I'm going to change the audio.
Sorry, you don't get to say anything.
You shall be silent.
We'll just do bad lip reading.
All right, this is Michael Fanone. Again, one of these characters gets under my skin a bit.
All right.
You should teach January 6th as an insurrection because it was an insurrection.
Oh, boy.
The facts were clearly laid out both in the Select Committee's investigation and Jack Smith's investigation that Donald Trump lied to the American people.
Get serious
Those
with your
lies
squinty
fueled
eyes.
The response to his rally on January 6th. And then he directed those angry Americans to storm the Capitol, attack law enforcement in an effort to postpone the certification of the election, while he tried to figure out how to subvert the eventual or inevitable outcome. It's all there in black and white. It's actually very simple. It's not that complicated. And unfortunately, too many Americans have either decided that they just don't care, or they are so entrenched in the MAGA cult that they accept it as patriotic activity.
Yes, it's the latter. It's the MAGA cult. We've completely doused ourselves in the MAGA cult, and it's all patriotic activity. I just thought, it's important to let him have his voice.
Yeah.
In fairness, that's what January 6th was all about. Let us be heard. All right, chat's got really busy here for a second.
Yeah.
5x5, Pony Boy, good morning. Mata Easel, good morning, son. Hi, Mom. PB Brown or P Brown Utah Scouts, good morning. Glad to have you here. Pony Boy, wait. It doesn't contain real rib meat. Next, we're going to find out they're not really chicken nuggets. Bro, that was like last year's ad. It was rat meat. Don't you know?
That was like 20 years ago.
Yeah. PB Brown, human meat. Yuck, human meat. It's Soylent Green, as I think they like to say. G Praiser, tripe is stomach lining, popular for many, purchased in grocery stores. Popular for who? I feel like tripe is in the international section of the grocery store. You know what I mean? Okay, Pony Boy, I'm going to ask Brock how I can start a daycare. Meat.
It's easy.
Meat is meat. Everything else is an imposter. Yeah. All right. So another thing that happened too, this was yesterday, RFK overhauled the childhood vaccine schedule to resemble Denmark's in an unprecedented move.
All right.
I got asked in the interview I did.
So how many shots does that make it then? Because it was like 70 some.
It's like 72 on 18 vaccines.
Right.
So it's 18 vaccines, and some of them had, multiple doses and boosters and stuff like that. So what this says, it says for the Center for Disease Control Prevention on Monday announced an unprecedented overhaul of the childhood vaccine schedule. Under the change effective immediately, the vaccine schedule will more closely resemble Denmark's, recommending all children get vaccines for 11 diseases compared to the 18 on the previous schedule.
Okay.
So it goes to explain the loss of trust during the pandemic not only affected the COVID-19 vaccine uptake, it also contributed to less adherence to the full CDC childhood immunization schedule.
I wonder
lower
what's
rates
going
of
on.
consensus vaccines such as measles, rubella, pertussis, and polio needs and scientific assessment in the agency. So it's really interesting. People just took vaccines for granted. Just take them. They're good. We don't like smallpox. Yeah, we don't like smallpox. Take all the vaccines. COVID comes around. It's the new vaccine. They're forcing it on you. It's like, well, has this even been tested on humans? Yeah, we tested it for like 6 weeks. Here, take it. 4 shots. Okay. It totally woke people up. So a lot of people are like, what's in the shots? Well, there's mercury. Turns out there's mercury in all the shots. Well, there's aluminum in all the shots.
Yeah.
They're from fetal aborted tissue. Well, there's fetal aborted tissue in all the shots. And so all of a sudden people were like, maybe none of the poison is okay for me. So that's really good. What's
Well,
changing?
the more they looked into it, the more it all sounded like poison.
Yeah. In Denmark, vaccines for the flu, as I'm drinking my aspartame here.
Yeah.
We take a good swig of aspartame. In Denmark, vaccines for the flu, COVID, RSV, chickenpox, hepatitis A, rotavirus, and meningitis aren't included in the childhood schedule. Denmark also recommends some shots, including vaccinations for polio, diphtheria, and tetanus, and whooping cough, on a slightly different timeline from the U.S. So basically, they've reduced the amount of vaccines required, which reduces the total number of shots, and they're encouraging people to drag it out. So they're not encouraging people to just load your baby up with all the shots up front. So that's really good. Yesterday, we mentioned a little clip from Tucker Carlson about perhaps the gay mafia is taking over.
Yeah.
For this. Well, he doubled down on that yesterday, but
Ooh.
just to show you that, you know, just like the McRib isn't really rib meat.
Do we have a pie chart?
The world is not always what you see. Bill Clinton did like the interns. Okay, like he wasn't a family man. So this is Colombian President Gustavo Petro was caught cheating on his wife with a transgender man in 2024. The married Colombian leader was caught holding hands on a date with trans model Linda Yepes in Panama. After the video went viral, he said he was not gay and claimed to be heterosexual.
Oh, boy.
Petro has threatened Trump he will take up arms if the U.S. attempts to remove him from power. Earlier today, he taunted the president, "Come and get me." So here's the video of him holding hands with his transvestite. I'm going to go ahead and say they got something going on. It's just me. Yep. I'm guessing you don't just get to walk around with the president of Colombia's hand like that when you're transgender for nothing. So here she is. You know, hard to tell.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I guess.
so, you know, could be the gay mafia after all. You never really know. Tucker Carlson seems to think that could be a legitimate reason why we're taking over Venezuela.
We can safely discount democracy as a reason for affecting regime change in Venezuela. We're not going to go kill Nicolas Maduro because we don't like the way he's treating his people. It's possible we're mad that he doesn't allow gay marriage. That is a distinct possibility, but no one will say that out loud. Not defending the regime, just saying. One of the most conservative countries in North or South or Central America. Only El Salvador really comes close, which is much smaller, of course. And by the way, the U.S.-backed opposition leader who would take Maduro's place if he were taken out is, of course, pretty eager to get gay marriage in Venezuela. So to those of you who thought this whole project was globo homo, not crazy, actually.
Why are we trying to install this woman? It makes no sense.
Well, because she'll bring gay marriage to Venezuela, and that's important.
If your definition of conservatism is just no gay marriage and no transgender, you're never going to win. Like, yeah, that's conservative, but politically, there's other things going on.
That old guy's reaction, I can't remember his name, but that was my reaction too. Just like,
why are we doing this?
Yeah.
That's Colonel McGregor, who I less and less respect his opinion on stuff. He's one of those guys. He's a little bit of a what you see is what you get kind of an analyzer, which is fine because a lot of times what you see is what you get.
He frames well on a camera.
But he's also one of those guys that misses the forest through the trees. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson is missing the forest through the trees. Most of media is missing the forest through the trees. This Venezuela thing is not just about drugs. It's not just about human trafficking. It's about the elections.
But it's hard to write a story about 4 different things.
Yeah. And it's hard. Tucker Carlson's in this really unique position because at Fox News, they were pretty much prevented from ever discussing the election in any real terms.
Sure.
And, you know, clearly he got run out and he's kind of been this agent of truth. But everybody, including ourselves, we have to include ourselves in this list, we have blind spots.
Sure.
Right. And for Tucker Carlson, he never seems to ever go down the road of elections. For everything he does with the financial system, with the global homo agenda, with, we're going to play a clip here in just a couple minutes or in just a second with Cernovich and Joe and
no, you're right.
Tucker
You're right
Carlson
about
talking
this.
MK Ultra, but he completely avoids, you know, we're taking over Venezuela because we install gay marriage, or it could be because they attacked our country in the election. Could be. You know what I mean?
And that would take care of the other problem too.
That would take care of the other problem too. Yeah, exactly. So this is Mike Cernovich, and they're talking about Tyler Robinson, Charlie Kirk's killer, and the possibility that he might have been an MK Ultra subject, and that the MK Ultra project actually changed itself and became what they call the MK Search Project, which basically means, in my opinion, they're using the algorithm and social media to accomplish the MK Ultra. So this is Cernovich talking about some cases where MK Ultra / MK Search have been used.
No, I think it was Tyler Robinson. I think a 22-year-old man on a mission is a very dangerous thing. And that I think that there were other people in those Discord servers, and there were people tweeting something big is going to happen tomorrow, and after tomorrow, Charlie won't be around anymore. So I'm very frustrated that there doesn't seem to be much interest in. Maybe those people were just guessing, or maybe they were trolling, but there doesn't seem to be much interest in finding out who those other people.
Why do
were.
you think?
It
doesn't make any sense to me.
I always go back to the Garland, Texas mass shooting, which is, to me, this is like the skeleton key of it all. So Pamela Geller, who's very much pro-Israel, about as hardcore as you can be on the issue, did a Draw Muhammad contest, and there was going to be a bunch of other people also like very pro-Israel, and a jihadi was going to shoot the place up. It was Texas, and he got taken out, but by an accident of fate, a local law enforcement officer pulled over an FBI agent who was fleeing the scene, got the guy's phone, and the text message to the jihadi said, "Tear up Texas." Sounds unbelievable. It's 100% true. Senator Grassley has asked for information twice from Ray and Garland. Has been stonewalled. I don't know why Kash Patel won't release it. I've asked everybody up as high up the food chain as you can get why we can't get it.
And what's the answer?
My belief is that MK Ultra never ended. COINTELPRO. MK Ultra was, of course, the mind control experiments they conduct on people, where the book Chaos covered this in great detail for people who are curious about that.
About the Charles Manson murders.
The Manson murders, and then there was that Air Force guy who was drugged up and killed somebody, and that didn't even make sense. And I didn't even know about that. Well, that book was completely mind-blowing. And I do think they still have whatever arm of that is, whether that's within the FBI or some other dark site within the intelligence community. I'm certain that still exists.
Yeah. The idea that they've manipulated people to do totally crazy things, mass shooting, like you said, in Garland, Texas, FBI agent or local police officer pulls over an FBI agent that's fleeing the scene, gets a cell phone, and the guy was following the shooter in the car. And as they're following the shooter, he's messaging him like, "Tear up Texas, go do your thing," like totally encouraging him. And then took a picture of the shooter as they started opening fire. So, law enforcement, protect public safety. They're encouraging. Guy goes open fire. They take a picture, take off. Now they got their case. Right?
Wow.
Instead of preventing the crime, they totally pushed it into the crime. And like he said, it's been like total cover-up mode.
Wow.
Everything we're looking at, just like McRib sandwiches aren't real, okay? Everything we're looking at, we have to have a suspicion. People can have very strong opinions, clearly, okay? But sometimes you get people that have these, yeah, but opinions. Does that make sense?
Oh,
yeah, but opinions. Well, Chavez is really bad, yeah, but look at how much they've gotten rid of poverty in South America. Yeah, they got rid of capitalism. Yeah, but you're going to have to suffer a little bit for collectivism to take off, right? The yeah, but crowd. There's a lot of people that I think are in the yeah, but crowd that are paid. Patrick Byrne is happy as a lark these days. He was on Emerald Robinson's show yesterday. He was on Alex Jones's show, and he's just, "We arrested Maduro. Things are good," and he's got some concerns, just like everybody. But one of the things he points out is they have a list now of all the actors, celebrity actors, that Venezuela paid over the years to pump Venezuela and the Chavez and Maduro regimes. It's a pretty big list, and some of them took a lot of money.
I think you're going to see Maduro come out and talk about all the people he's paid off. The cartel paid off. I can tell you a bunch of them. I can tell you that a lot of Hollywood celebs who you've heard about in the last 20 years defending Venezuela were paid a lot. I'm talking, one of them got paid $50 million. One of them got paid $20 million. A lot of celebrities that, and they're going to have a little IRS problem if they
really being a celebrity and promoting Venezuela or big oil or big pharma. is about the only thing that's as profitable as the daycare business.
Wow.
If that was done in cash, you've got IRS, you've got money laundering, you've got all kinds of problems, probably FARA violation. But I feel obligated to say, I don't know why, but do you know who Noam Chomsky is? Ever heard this left-wing guy, Noam Chomsky? He's very much associated. He's an MIT left-wing radical professor who did a lot of defending of Venezuela. Oddly enough, he's a true believer. He's not on the list of people who took a bribe. but the Hollywood celebrities that you're familiar with, you're going to be shocked who among them, not all of them, but who among them took bribes. Susan Sarandon did not. Susan Sarandon, who happens to be an old acquaintance of mine, she's
Here,
one
let me
who did
guess.
not.
Sean Penn?
It's, let's say, higher powers. It's up to them to release this list of who's on it. I just give you two names. I can tell you or not: Susan Sarandon and Noam Chomsky. But other names, I'm just going to say no comment.
If you ask Grok.
Everywhere you look, it's fake, 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 right? So even Maduro himself was fake. He pretended like he was running a country. It looked like he was running a country. He calls himself President Maduro, but he really wasn't running a country, was he? This is Todd Blanche, a very questionable figure in the Trump White House, talking about what Maduro's got coming for him in his indictment and what they were doing.
He's been indicted by a grand jury in New York for the second time. I mean, to be clear, what this 2025 indictment showed is that the conspiracy that was alleged up through 2020 when he was indicted the first time just didn't stop. He continued, as alleged, the work that he was doing, helping to orchestrate a major international infrastructure that brought tons and tons of cocaine to the United States. And he continued doing that, as alleged in the indictment, up until 2025. And so this is, like I said, he'll get his day in court with a jury of his peers in New York. And as alleged, if you, like you said, it does read a little bit like a movie. This was an infrastructure and a very organized group of individuals from all over the world, different gangs and different terrorist organizations that work together to bring drugs into this country. And that's what I expect the evidence in trial will show. He's been indicted.
So he looked like the president of Venezuela. It turns out he was just a cartel leader. No better than the McRib sandwich.
Shocking.
Shocking. The judge handling Maduro's case is a 92-year-old judge. Good heavens, man. Does anybody ever retire anymore? Do these guys know anything about recreation or having fun with the grandkids? 92-year-old judge handling the Maduro case doesn't give a what anyone thinks about him. This is according to Political.
That happens when you get older.
Yeah. So he was appointed by Clinton, and basically he tries very hard to do the right thing. He just has his own sense of what that is, one former federal prosecutor said. He's just an old school, does things his own way and doesn't give a what anybody thinks about him, said another former federal prosecutor. Like most lawyers interviewed for the story, was granted anonymity because, he's got to practice in his courtroom. Basically, the judge likes things to go at a good, strong clip. He likes to try cases. He gets bored with witness testimony. And he's probably just going to roll this case on through as best he can.
That's a great cover story.
Huh?
It's a great cover story.
Great cover story. He just does things his own way.
Yeah.
Up to and including dismissing high-level indictments. Yeah, exactly. Jonathan Turley on Fox News broke down that Maduro should be really concerned when he finally reads the superseding indictment.
If Maduro thought the operation was scary, wait till he reads the superseding indictment. I mean, it is really scary. If you're on the defense side, they've got a lot, including potentially high-ranking cooperating witnesses. And that criminal organization symbol of the sun was not accidental. That is also the symbol of Venezuela. It was very clear that they wanted to convey a certain degree of state support. And they effectively created, ironically enough, for a socialist country, a type of monopoly in Venezuela. This was the government cartel, and they really were the only dog on the block.
One of the things that, if you'd have asked me 5 years ago on January 6th, when we were getting ready to protest the stolen election, right, or whatever you want to call it, Stop the Steal rally, if you'd have said, fast forward 5 years, and I'm not going to tell you about your life in between, Okay. But fast forward in 5 years, and in 5 years, Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela will be arrested. It'll be over drug charges, but the rumor on the street will be that he overthrew this election, that he and his manipulated and machinations overthrew this election.
Whatever. You are crazy.
Crazy. What is this? What are you listening to? Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell? What are you, some kind of conspiracy nutbag?
Yeah. Little winky.
Oh, and by the way, in the meantime, you're going to be under federal indictment, go to prison, see a race riot. The things you'll see, young man. Have you ever seen an inmate shove meth up his ass? Oh, I have. Thank you very much, Nicolas Maduro. Okay. So yeah, it's pretty significant that Maduro's on trial. I really hope Donald Trump comes out and says, because of the election stuff, his Truth Social feed is just
somebody needs to tie this together. Well, somebody.
Trump's Truth Social feed is nothing but election fraud stuff.
Okay, good.
One after another. And it's leading these videos. He's already put out the ones talking about Venezuela. They're leading people down the garden path. He's bringing up these 4 and 5-year-old videos from the election, 2020 election, and the audits and all that stuff, and he's putting them back out there. So
can you imagine the firestorm the Democrats are going to be laying out?
It's interesting how you kind of look at it. The Democrat Party, are they hanging on? Are they completely broken? And
it's hard to tell.
Husk? Are do these people actually have some legs? Or are we just watching the last whiffs of mainstream media, public education, and just pundits that haven't picked up the new talking points yet, right? Like, are we really watching a Democrat Party that's regrouping and getting ready to retake the midterms? Or are we watching a party that's just backed into every corner that they can think of? They've got all of the kill shots are available.
I think that is what it is. I mean, we did just hear that public broadcasting is shutting down.
Oh, that was going to be in a couple slides.
Oh, shoot.
All right. So Stephen Miller finally got back onto CNN. He'd been blacked out of there for a little bit over a month. And he was on with Jake Tapper, and he explained this taking over Venezuela and getting Nicolas Maduro and the way that it's being done is the only way things are actually done in the real world. The real world is controlled by force and strength. It's not all these ethereal ideas that sometimes you guys on TV like to opine about.
Well, what the president said is true. The United States of America is running Venezuela. By definition, that's true. Jake, we live in a world in which you can talk all you want about international niceties and everything else. But we live in a world, in the real world, Jake, that is governed by strength, that is governed by force, that is governed by power. These are the iron laws of the world.
But are you saying
since the beginning of time?
But in terms of day-to-day operations in Venezuela, that is acting President Rodriguez, right? It's not some sort of American emissary.
What I'm saying is, we'll keep going here, Jake. So I want to say what I'm saying, and then you'll follow up. But what I'm saying is just one level above that, which is that by definition, we are in charge because we have the United States military stationed outside the country. We set the terms and conditions. We have a complete embargo on all of their oil and their ability to do commerce. So for them to do commerce, they need our permission. For them to be able to run an economy, they need our permission. So the United States is in charge. The United States is running the country during this transition period.
Okay, that's it. Stephen Miller just gave a master class in political science. We're in charge because we can force them to do what we want to do. Okay. We have the military surrounding the country. They're starved out. Are we going to micromanage who they issue or don't issue driver's licenses to for the next 6 months? No. Do we care about business licensing? No. Do we care about taxation?
We're not going to micromanage any of that.
But we are going to get everything we want out of Venezuela because we can use force. And the cartel members who are running the country, guess what? They're going to have to use their force to do what they've got to do internally. That is the way of the world. So the misunderstanding here on who's in charge, are you going to designate yourself as president of Venezuela? No, but we're going to leave our armada parked out the coast, and we're going to make sure the people that claim to be in charge of Venezuela put people back to work and start paying their bills on time, right? Stephen Miller goes on.
Apparently, over the future of Greenland.
One last question,
doesn't
Stephen.
make any sense.
One last question. The president was very quick to say that the recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize, opposition leader Machado in Venezuela, doesn't have the support in Venezuela to become the next president or the interim leader. And I wonder where he got that from, given that her cutout, Gonzalez, won the election last year 2 years ago, overwhelmingly. 70% of the vote or something like that. Why does the president think that Machado should not be the next leader? Why does he think she's weak?
First of all Venezuela experts agree. All Venezuela experts agree that it would be absurd and preposterous for us to suddenly fly her into the country and to put her in charge. And the military would follow her and the security forces would follow her. This is not a serious...
That right there is the point. And the military would follow her and the security forces would follow her. We live in a country that is so high trust and so law and order. It's assumed that if Joe Biden is the commander in chief, that the generals will do what he says. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's assumed like, well, that's your boss, do your job. That's not really how it works, right? General Milley turned on Trump and called the corresponding representative in China and said, if Trump tries to nuke you, I'll call you and let you know, and I won't let it happen. That's treason, right?
Yeah.
Milley didn't respect Donald Trump, right? Milley knew that it's just, well, I have some control here.
He wasn't having respect for the office.
Yeah, so you're not just going to drop this Nobel Prize winner in on Venezuela and be like, okay, she's in charge now. Everybody take orders from her.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not how power works.
It's not even a serious question.
So should there be an election?
Let me... If you give me the floor for 30 seconds, let me tell you what we are doing here, Jake. The United States, this is sort of foundational. The United States is using its military to secure our interests unapologetically in our hemisphere. We're a superpower, and under President Trump, we are going to conduct ourselves as a superpower. It is absurd that we would allow a nation in our own backyard to become the supplier of resources to our adversaries, but not to us. To hoard weapons from our adversaries, to be able to be positioned as an asset against the United States rather than on behalf of the United States.
Sovereign countries shouldn't be able to do what they want to do.
The Monroe Doctrine and the Trump Doctrine is all about securing the national interests of America. For years, we sent our soldiers to die in deserts in the Middle East to try to build them parliaments, to try to build them democracies, to try to give them more oil, try to give them more resources. The future of the free world, Jake, depends on America being able to assert ourselves and our interests without apology. This whole period that happened after World War II, where the West began apologizing and groveling and begging,
I don't even know,
these
honestly, what you're talking about right now.
What I'm talking about, Jake, is the idea. And by the way, you do. I know you love doing that smarmy thing, Jake, and I was hoping to be better than that this time.
I asked you about if there should be an election.
Exactly.
I asked you if there would be an election in Venezuela. That's what I asked. I said, why was the president so quick to just...
We just took out Maduro 48 hours ago. When's the election going to be? We got to rig it quick. Hurry, while they still have Dominion machines.
Mr. Tapper, that is the weakest talking point ever.
Dude.
Jeez. And I really don't like it anymore, how people are like throwing around Nobel Prize like that gives somebody like the armor of they can be whoever they want to be. As long as they got a Nobel Prize, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, and everybody will just kowtow to them. You know, generals in the military in Venezuela are just going to be like, oh, we love it.
Yeah.
Ms. Machado, you answered that question. And then I said...
The objective, Jake, is security and stability for the people of Venezuela. With our help and leadership, that country will become more prosperous than it has ever been in its whole history. Venezuelans
But the woman running Venezuela right now is part of the Maduro regime.
There will be conversations, Jake, about all of these guideposts along the way. The reason why I was giving you that speech, which I know you didn't want to hear, is because you're approaching this from the wrong frame. This neoliberal frame that the United States' job is to go around the world and demanding immediate elections be held everywhere, immediately, all the time, right away. To create these vacuums.
That's not what I think, but you invaded the country. We went into the country.
That actually is exactly what we've been trying to do all over the world since World War II. Everywhere the Western nations intervene, they want to have an election right away. Self-rule, self-government.
Install democracy.
Install democracy. Hurry up. We got to get our corrupted bureaucrats in here as quickly as we possibly can.
And we seized the leader of Venezuela.
Damn straight we did.
And I'm saying,
we're not going to let.
so is the U.S. going to have new elections?
Jake, is that we're not going to let Tim Pot communist dictators send rapists into our country, send drugs into our country, send weapons into our country.
Okay.
And we're not going to let a country fall into the hands of our adversaries. The future of Venezuela, working with America, is going to be so bright and so incredible and so positive, and we'll have a conversation about everything that you raised. But the priority right now, as the president has been made clear, is a judicious, thoughtful, careful transition process to secure a great future for Venezuela and to secure a great future for America.
All right.
Okay, both sides of this argument here can't talk to each other because they can't talk about the real reason we're dealing with Venezuela. Okay, you got Jake Tapper over here who's
they're both doing it, but they're both doing it for different reasons.
They're different reasons, exactly. Jake Tapper over here is halfway trying to defend narco-terrorists and this sovereignty concept, right? And then you've got Stephen Miller over here who's like, we're not going to let people send people into our country. But we've been letting Mexico send people across the border for years. You know what I mean? It's like, and the cartels in Mexico are just as bad as the cartels in Venezuela. So it creates this, are we just going after every boogeyman now? You know, and that's what Jake Tapper's trying to play off. So are you just going to go take over every dictator in the world?
Right.
And Stephen Miller's halfway like, yes, if I have to, I will.
Right. But he does it in such a smarmy way that it just comes off as being such a, what
they both
ass.
do. They both do, but neither one of them are talking about the elections.
Right.
This is this could be the unifying thing to get the right and the left to both go, oh, yeah, the left thought there were problems with machines until after 2016s. And then they were like, shut up about the machines. Right. And then they got really quiet about the machines after 2020. And then the Republicans started talking about the machines. Mm-hmm. We both don't like the machines. There's epic amounts of archive footage of politicians on the left and right talking about the vulnerabilities. Right. So it's like we could just focus on that, but they can't. They can't. The left or the right can't do it. On the right, it's hard to understand why they won't talk about it.
Yeah,
the only thing I think of is that a quote unquote GOP member bought Liberty or Dominion, relabeled it Liberty, and they're actively running their programs, right? We just learned about the Fulton County issues. So it kind of makes me think these guys are both pulling punches, which I don't really like at all. P. Brown, Utah Scout says, Brennan liking this Venezuela thing makes me pause. Yeah, Brennan had a clip that circulated yesterday where he praised the military for the quick strike. And, you know, it was just kind of, it's okay, it's good. You know, I think my thought on that is one of two things. Is one, possibly the CIA's got their guy. They're going to keep the regime in place. They're going to keep all their, you know, arrangements continuing to be arranged. So that's a possibility. The other possibility is Brennan is getting to the point where he's just trying not to piss anybody off because he's going to be under indictment pretty soon. That is what some of the other pundits were saying. They're like, oh, that's John Brennan with his tail between his legs right there. Like the Venezuela thing is you're caught. If Maduro tries to talk, you're caught. Because remember that whole Serbia room where Brennan had a business partner hosting the servers that they were using in the building. Dominion was hosted in Serbia. You know, it's like, he's caught. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's officially done. She's no longer Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's just Marjorie Taylor Greene, the
regular vanilla.
Yeah, the single mom that's married to a GOP operative. And she went windsurfing down in El Salvador or Dominican Republic or somewhere. She went on vacation because she's Dominican Republic. That's where she went. She's officially done. But she did have enough time yesterday to do a news hit on the way out the door and, you know, just stomp all over President Trump.
President today when it comes to what's next for Venezuela and just defending this decision overall. He told NBC News, quote, MAGA loves it. MAGA loves what I'm doing. MAGA loves everything I do. MAGA is me. You voted for this president 3 times. Is this what you voted for?
Not only did I vote for the president 3 times, I was one of the few Republicans that stood by him early on when the rest of the Republicans turned their back on him. I also campaigned all over the country for him and attended many of those rallies where the campaign promises were no more foreign wars, no more regime change, and putting the American people first. Caitlin, those are the things that I believe on and have stood on in principle, not only in principle, but by actions as well. I never voted to fund Ukraine. I never voted to fund any of the foreign wars. And I worked hard to get rid of foreign aid and funding foreign governments and foreign people. That's what I believe in. However, it is concerning to see what's happening and the direction that the Trump administration is moving in. We can say, thankfully, that Maduro has been arrested. We can say we're happy for the Venezuelan people, but we can also look to all the regime changes before in Iraq and Libya and Syria. And we said the same things for the people of those countries. But then we watch those countries fall into turmoil and civil war, and we watch the rise of ISIS and terrorism, and we watch U.S. troops remain in those countries for a very long time, and many flag-draped coffins come home. And that's what many Americans don't want to see happen.
So I think the thing with Venezuela is I am not connecting the dots how we end up in a 20-year regime change war. I'm not connecting those dots. Like, it's easy to see how we got there in Afghanistan. It's easy to see how we got there in Venezuela. It's easy to see the debacles we caused in Libya and Syria. But we didn't just go in and take out Gaddafi and arrest him and then leave the rest of his cabinet and government in place.
Right.
Like, the way
This
that
is
the
different.
Trump administration is executing this conflict with Venezuela is very different than any prior administration ever has executed any conflict ever. I mean, you'd really have to go back and look at 1989, the arrest of Noriega in Panama. It's probably the closest thing you can get. And I mean, I know it was like, oh, you're in the jungle in Panama. I've talked to a few people that, dropped in there. Jungle fighters.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like this long occupation. I mean, China quickly moved in and took over the place, right? So it's like, I don't really, I don't see it. I feel like with her and Massey and Rand Paul, you got to come to Congress for approval. It's almost like when you don't have a real policy idea or an agenda, you just lean back on the rules or lean back on, well, we don't want foreign wars. Is this a foreign war? And again, we're talking about here in Peasants' perspective, we're talking about the election. And that's the thing, that you can't have a full-throated, realistic discussion on what's happening with Venezuela unless you finally get to the election part. Everything else could be handled by local police departments, local sheriffs, some DEA agents, maybe some FBI. It's all kind of this low-level crime. And then you got to have the CIA go deal with the cartels and whatever outside of our borders.
Right. So I would love to listen to Jake Tapper after we take care of Venezuela, get the voting back in order, back in America, get installed all new officials in the House and in the Senate and in every other place. And then we can talk about Venezuela.
Yeah, it'd be nice. But one of the things we're going to run into, and again, I'm bringing it back to this point. Do we need to talk about some controllers here?
Probably.
All right, we're going to talk about controllers here for a quick second.
Pew. Ready to live up your...
Last night, my kids had all their controllers for the Xbox and the Switch out. And I was counting them, and I was like, we have 8 controllers? Like, well, these 2 don't work because that kid threw them up against the wall. And that one doesn't there to hold a battery charge. And
they start to multiply.
Yeah, exactly.
Ready to level up your game? Aim Controllers is where custom meets unbeatable value. And right now, it's the best deal of the year. We start with official Sony and Xbox controllers, fully compatible with console and PC. No functionality lost. Then you go wild with custom features, smart bumpers, paddles, grips, stick height, custom buttons, even design your own PS5 snap panels. And here's the part no one else is doing. Lifetime warranty on all modified parts. That's right, lifetime. And other companies, what other company does that? Exactly. Normally, a fully loaded setup could run you $400, but during our one price promo, it's just $209 USD or 182 euro, no matter how many features you add. Use code RUMBLE at checkout and lock it in. This is your sign. Go to aimcontrollers.com and build the last controller you'll ever need.
So last night, right, my kids are like, those 2 controllers don't work because Caleb threw them up against the wall. And I look at Caleb. Caleb, did you do that? He goes, yeah, like when I was 4. He just turned 7. Like, so we've been humping around 2 broken controllers for 3 years. I'm like, how many times have you been disappointed when you picked up the controller that doesn't work and nobody threw it away? It just sits around for 3 years, and hundreds of times you guys have picked it up and, hey, this controller doesn't work. It's like
constant disappointment.
Constant disappointment. So one of the things that I've emphasized quite a bit in this podcast is we cannot vote our way out of an indoctrinated society. So one of the things, there's these certain platitudes that we in the West have. One of them is the ends do not justify the means, right? The ends do not justify the means. However, as the debate goes, some people would argue that the ends do justify the means.
I feel like they do here because this is impacting my life every day with these stupid voting machines that are just crushing our place.
Yes. So if your objective is collectivism, and that is the great utopia and the great perfection, then anything it takes to get there, you could potentially justify, right? And that is where the danger lies, because often the trouble is in the journey. It's not in the destination. If we could all just live in utopia, or if you're a religionist, a Zion-like community, if we could all live in these perfect homogenous groups, yeah, it'd be awesome, right? But then ideally, the idea is that my individual self fits in so perfectly with the collective that I can self-express and my expression becomes part of the collective, right? We all just want to fast forward and get to utopia as quickly as we can. Socialists, collectivists, communists, they have that end vision. And collectivism has never once succeeded ever. Okay? Ever, ever, ever. So they're constantly trying to get to their utopia, but they can never quite make it work. And they collectivists absolutely believe the ends justify the means. What is your little tiny sacrifice in comparison to the joy of we the people, or all of our comrades, or Mother Russia, or whatever big amorphous group that cannot be well defined is?
And they always make the argument that it didn't quite work because people just didn't commit enough.
People just didn't commit enough.
You got to jump all in.
Exactly. And so in order to make it work, collectivists, one of the things about them is they do think long term, much better than an individualist who's really just concerned about the next 80 years, right? He's just concerned about his lifetime. But the collectivist starts to think long term, and they understand that when you're up against a world full of capitalism and contracts, you're going to have to work things slowly. Collectivists in the last century, because remember, the big movement for collectivism, turn of the 1900s, you had Karl Marx over in Germany writing about Marxism, and you had Lenin showing up in Russia, and you kind of had the movement where the collectivists finally got some power, okay? Now, when they did that, over time, they started to get into our school systems. We're going to watch this clip about indoctrination of our kids. It's an older clip, okay? The thing about some of these clips that we play that are older, we look back and they're like, man, they were really calling balls and strikes. They were really right, right? But remember, we've known this problem for 30 or 40 years. There have been people out there saying the school system's a problem. It's indoctrinating. But we've done nothing about it until we get to the point we're at now. And when we play this clip and then I show you the clips afterwards, you'll see how we've gone full retarded. We cannot vote our way out of this.
And
Okay, but you have to go back a little bit, okay? Because you're losing me here a little bit, okay? You're saying they're brainwashing, okay? You're saying these people that are experts in brainwashing is using the Department of Education to brainwash our children.
Yes.
What are they after? Why are they doing it?
Well, if you want to move a country from a free individualistic economy,
which we have,
yes, or had,
okay,
to a planned economy, you have to do it through the schools. You have to dumb down and brainwash, change the attitudes and values. You have to completely, social engineering has to go on constantly. And many teachers know what I'm talking about. And people are going to say, well, when did this start? And who on earth ever did this? Why would a plan like that be allowed to be carried out?
That's right.
Well, then you have to go back to 1934, which I will do, and we have to go to the three-pronged fork, okay? So I do think that the watershed year, although you can go back to the early part of the century when the Rockefeller Foundation and the Carnegie Corporation were deeply involved in education, and that it was decided then that Carnegie would deal with the international part and Rockefeller domestic. But then we moved on to 1934, and this was after World War I. And there were these educators, many of them going back and forth to Russia, very admiring of the new system in Russia, communistic system. And they wanted to put it in here in the United States. And so the Carnegie Corporation that had always been involved in, trying to get us into world government after.
I want to point something out. All these people that were going back and forth to Russia, they were going to either St. Petersburg or Moscow. So you've got this huge Russian empire. Everybody's dirt poor. They're starting to gather up all the excess from the countryside and dumping it into these little inner cities. So then these educators are coming from America, where we've got 50 big cities that are all growing up and becoming mature. And Russia's got 2 or 1, and they have the same mass amount of resources all being poured into one place. It's just like going to North Korea and you show up in their big town. This city's beautiful. It's super. It's the only town they have, right? Sure, if 30 million people all donate $10 a month, you could have a pretty city too. You know what I mean? That what was going on was there was this facade in this little bubble that they could bring people into because they control all information. Oh, look, we have an egalitarian society. Everybody's equal. Meanwhile, you're not seeing the starving countryside who's not eating so that you can have bread on your table in Moscow.
Right, you're not seeing the gulags.
Yeah, where they're not producing anything.
After the League of Nations and all in 1917, they still had this goal. And of course, world government will be communism. I mean, it's really international socialism. That's what Lenin called it. So they've always wanted this. And
the Department of Education today is going along with
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And so in 1934, the Carnegie Corporation produced, it took 4 years. They commissioned the American Historical Association to put together a study of the social studies. And they came up with lots of volumes, but I have one little volume, Conclusions and Recommendations for the Social Studies. And basically that little one is an original book. I wish I'd brought it with me. Too bad. But I don't even dare let it out of the house. It's so important. It called for changing the United States through the schools from a free individualistic economy to a socialist, collectivized, planned economy in the New World Order.
It says that in the book?
Yes.
And that book was written when?
In 1934.
By who?
It was the Carnegie Corporation paid for it. The American Historical Association put it together.
So oftentimes you get families that become like anti-vaxxer and then they become anti-schoolers. Okay. So the reason I want to play this is because we've got this going on. Okay. This is now this mindset, this collectivism, socialism, the ends justifies the means. It's everywhere, right? So this is the person who's in charge of housing under Mandami.
At $5 billion, we hope to be able to set up and staff the agency, but also build new housing across the state, as well as acquire distressed housing across the state. The mechanisms for acquiring distressed housing could look different on a building by building basis. In some cases, what happens is tenants form a tenant association. They have a scofflaw landlord or someone who's not making repairs, and they could.
So imagine having a rent-controlled building where you can't raise rents to make extra profits to make the repairs, and then your tenants gang up on you and form a tenant union to come after you to make the repairs that you can't afford because you're in a rent-controlled building.
And then the state takes your building.
Exactly.
Using organizing tactics, they could pressure to the Social Housing Development Authority to take over their homes, to buy their homes. In other cases, it might happen through like the legal process. A couple of days ago, one of the most notorious slumlords in the city, his name is Obshalom. He was arrested because he is treating his tenants so badly, hundreds of thousands of open code violations. In cases like that, where the city is actively pursuing already sort of litigation and enforcement mechanisms against the landlord, the SHDA is an option. We can say, hey, you are not maintaining this building, and we are the city of New York. We have an interest in making sure that housing is well maintained, and we're going to take this building away from you.
Oh, okay. So they'll just take the building away.
Hundreds of thousands of open code violations.
Yeah. What is she talking about? Yeah, some slumlord, apartments. But the open code violations become like you have an open ground, or I don't know, paint chipped. Yeah. When you get to that level, it's like, it's not 100,000 of foundation code violations. Yeah. The point is, though, she's like, we're just going to take your property. Well, what if the landlord just doesn't want to rent it anymore?
Right.
Oh, do we have a public interest? No, we have to use this space for housing. despite your property rights?
I would venture to say that if you talk to any planner, they would say yes.
Yeah, we're going to take it because we want it for this purpose.
Yes.
They don't care what your intended
because that's what the zone is, man.
Yeah, exactly. Now, here's some college professors. These are from University of Virginia.
In the moment that you grab the gun, like Fanon says, you're no longer oppressed. You're now free. How do we?
So he's saying oppressors oppress victims, but as soon as the victim grabs a gun, he's no longer oppressed. He's free.
Oh,
well, if you point the gun at the other guy, now you're the oppressor too.
That in the class. Just to say that in the class, my students' heads explode. Right? To tell them about violence, as a revolutionary tool, as sometimes a revolutionary essential.
We actually need to crash the U.S. settler state, which has incredible reverberations and literally strangles the tentacles that are reaching into the Israeli state.
So we must stand with the armed resistance and work right now to end this impunity by disrupting the flow of weapons to Zionists, because trust.
So this just goes on and on. This is Virginia Tech, professor of political science. These are all from Virginia Tech, Virginia. Just political violence, bring on, and they're socialists, they're communists. They want to end the capitalist way. Here's our New York landlord now.
Democratically controlled public housing is really important. And that's why when Raquel was talking about the communities and that she's describing, that's a created community where the people who are living there are like setting the agenda. And so, people like home ownership because they like control, and that's been perverted by like deep racism and deep classism in our society.
Okay, let's just cover that. People
Hold
like
on.
home ownership
She looks just like the mayor of Seattle.
Yeah, they could be sisters, huh? Yeah. So this is important. Okay, people like home ownership because they like control. Listen to this sentence here.
Perverted by like deep racism and like home ownership because they like control, and that's been perverted by like deep racism and deep classism in our society. So like we have to not have a racist and classist society, and so that's like something we need to think about like deeply. It's about control, and why rent control is really important is because rent control alters the power dynamic between renters and who owns the building.
This is
no kidding.
This is the product of your education system. So on one hand, you're going to punish landlords because they can't make a profit to repair their buildings and they become scofflaw landlords.
So you're going to punish them some more and take their building.
But now you're going to punch them some more and you're going to take their building, and you're going to blame it on the fact that they're white.
Right. Okay.
The ends justify this means. We've got to start thinking collectively. Has it ever worked? Has it ever worked? I would venture to say this
matter to them.
I would venture to say this woman has never collected a rent check. She's only paid them. Okay. She's never been a landlord. Again, this is Rutgers University. Rutgers University.
All things that begin end. White folks are not infinite and eternal, right? They ain't gonna go on for infinity and infinity. And that's super important to remember, that white colonialism and imperialism has a beginning. And in my way of thinking about the world, that means it has an end. The thing I want to say to you is we got to take these motherfuckers out. But I know, but like, we can't say that, right? We can't say, like, I don't.
You can't. I
Wow.
can't say that. I can't.
Wow.
Say Winters can't say that. JD Vance can't say that. But she can say that.
Believe in a project of violence. I truly don't.
That's where we're at.
Wow.
So, yep, Venezuela's about elections. Except we might not want to tell anybody that, because if the collectivists find out that you can actually overthrow elections, they'll start overthrowing elections. Okay, because maybe the fact that the collectivists, aka your next door neighbor Democrat, still believes the elections are real, which is why they tolerate you and your guns and Bibles. You know what I mean? Like, this could get scary really fast. Now, you did mention this earlier, but NPR, PBS?
The Corporation for Public Broadcasting says its board has voted to dissolve the organization after 58 years. The move follows last year's congressional vote to eliminate federal funding allocated to National Public Radio and the Public Broadcasting Service. In August, the corporation announced it would cease operation. Many Republicans have accused it of liberal bias for decades.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it wasn't the Public Broadcasting Service.
It was It was
the public broadcasting system.
Yeah.
Hello.
That's right. It's the system. And it was super left. I remember a good friend of ours, local excavator up in North Kitsap.
Yeah.
One day, his wife listened to the show back in the day, and she was like, well, I don't know what Bob listens to. I think it's mostly just NPR. And I was like, for a guy like Bob, who's uber conservative, you get all your news from NPR. No wonder you walk around like, you know what I mean? Like
whiplash.
Yeah, like it sounds so calm and reassuring as they tell me that rent controls need to be implemented, and that they're taking private property from people, and it's like the way PBS would present it would be like some right-wing extremists have sued the vaccine manufacturers because lethal doses of mercury and aluminum have been found in these vaccines.
It's the unbiased voice.
It's the unbiased, but these extremists.
It's not unbiased information. It's just unbiased voice,
which taints everything.
Yes.
All right. So now down in LA, I love me some porn fraud. Okay. I love me these daycare centers and stuff like this. So this right here is a Iranian down in California who's running a daycare. Now, he did pull up in his Bentley, mind you, which, by the way, started out at about $250,000. Okay. So he pulls up in his Bentley and he's all mad because someone's filming, but he goes on to explain exactly why he needed $42.18 million for his daycare.
Did you win the law? That's assault. Don't touch me. Ever since Nick Shirley has done his reporting in Minnesota, we have Iranian daycare centers in California. Over here we have 1412 South Crescent Heights, Creative Children Academy. Nobody has come in or out of this facility in 9 months. Every window is just boarded up, tinted or barred. I think that's Jamshid Rolling. Jamshid, registered owner of this property. Jamshid, where's the money, Jamshid? Where did you get $3.42 million for this one facility? Where'd you get this from? How did you get property? Yeah, did you win the law? That's assault. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Jamshid, where are the children? 96 registered children. Where are they? Where are the children? In or out?
Dude.
Oh, look, he's handicapped. How did you get?
Can you read English? This is a certificate for daycare center. This is an emblem from California.
That's from the Department of Social Services. That's how you've been getting your grant money for.
It doesn't look like the emblem.
12 entities across the Bay Area and Southern California.
I know what they're doing.
The most money you've.
I know what they're doing.
Karen Bass's government, $4.2 million just to her campaign, electoral campaign alone.
You guys are like influencing. He's trying to be lawyer, having a binder. Go back to your cockroach office.
I'm just a concerned citizen, and I want to understand how did you get
California? Go for the.
Don't touch me. I don't know what that means. Careful, I think he's revving up the car. Careful.
Don't run, Jamshid.
Money, Jamshid. $40.8 million.
Keep coming back.
No, how did you get? You have a property company?
I have family. I have children. I just have the business. I go open it at the office. They give you a certificate, and that's it.
You have a nice watch, too. How did you get the watch and the car? Did you win the lottery, or are you making $1.2 million? I
don't understand you.
Center? You've opened and closed a new child daycare center at this location alone every year from 2000.
Don't run. Opportunity is why I came to America. Come here, look at this. You think it's cheap to bring a building up to code for opening a daycare? I'd rather buy 4 more of these ones. Look at this. This is the beautiful Rolls Royce American car. Come here. But I have to install what I have to install to become the next generational wealth person in my family. Look, our floor was falling through into the sewer. So we had to cut, take out the soil, do a testing of the soil because next to the gas station. Look here.
This is not over, and we need to follow Jamshid and this entire Iranian fraud that is going on here in California. Oh my God, is that Jamshid again?
He assaulted. You want to put that aside? I don't know what that means.
Okay, so I got to tell you here, I couldn't figure out if this was real or not.
Oh.
I was like, maybe this is parody. Maybe this is parody.
Or maybe it's AI.
It's not. It's not AI. It's real. Okay. But it's like, is this parody? Are these guys joking around? The guy with the Bentley and the certificate with the child care?
I don't think so.
My child care certificate.
I don't think they're acting.
I know. It's like, yeah, that might be legit.
It's just a really weird interaction.
Now, the thing is you have to recognize the truth is stranger than fiction on some of this. That looked $40-something million. Oh, you got to fix the building. Look what I have to do. I had to fix the
I know. I was like,
it's like a crappy thing.
I got some chink, chink, chink at my house.
Yeah, exactly. Mario Nalfal says, it's not rumor anymore, it's confirmed. The Department of Health and Human Services has verified reporting that Abukar Dahir Osman, Somalia's ambassador to the United Nations, was involved in a healthcare company convicted of Medicare fraud. The company's MPI appears on the HH Office of Inspector General exclusion list. Blah, blah, blah. Mandatory minimum 5-year wait. Can't get back in the business. The same man who just assumed the rotating presidency of the UN Security Council on January 1st. He now has authority to set global agenda, oversee international peacekeeping operations, and authorize UN military actions. His background, reportedly worked as a supervisor at the Medicaid office in Franklin County, Ohio. But he's from Somalia. Listed as a daycare administrator in the state, connected to a healthcare company, convicted of defrauding American taxpayers. Same pattern, Medicaid, daycares, Somali networks, fraud convictions, except this one isn't just cash out and disappear. He became a diplomat with immunity presiding over global security. So there is your Somali fraudster who robbed you and I, Ron, stole from us, took food right off my children's table, and he now works on the UN Security Council. So in another episode of There Are No Laws, There Are Only Cops, somebody's going to need to enforce our immigration laws and our fraud laws. Eric Schmidt has decided to write another law to enforce what should be done anyways.
It's a pretty stunning development. And in fact, I'll be introducing some legislation to make it easier to denaturalize individuals who've committed this kind of fraud in our country. We need to go after this fraud. We need to have more tools to make sure this kind of fraud doesn't happen. But it's a really stunning development. I think it also tells you, Harris, that this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is this Somali-based fraud that had to do with these daycare centers. There's also a bunch of money that went out the door at the end of the Biden administration that had nothing to do with COVID, but it was under the auspices of these COVID funds. I think you're going to see another wave of fraud. So I think that's probably at the heart of why Tim Walz's demise here is headline news. But, you know, the other fraud that was perpetrated when he was picked as the running mate, he was supposed to be, you know, Governor Jazz Hands would come out on stage. He wasn't appealing to young men. I mean, this was the best they had to offer to deal with the fact that their party had completely tacked to the left over the last decade. And so Tim Walz is kind of the poster child, I think, for not only how out of touch the Democrats are, but how corrupt they are when they actually govern.
Yeah. Tim Walz officially yesterday not running for re-election. So he's 1 foot out the door, and he blamed it on Donald Trump. This is what happens when Donald Trump weaponizes himself against your entire state. Minnesota's getting like no funding for anything right now either. And Dana Perino says Tim Walz isn't going to be the first to go.
I think he's got a real problem because he might have been the first shoe to fall, but there's more coming. Because Keith Ellison, who is the Attorney General of Minnesota, former congressman who is a member of Democratic leadership, he is on audio, leaked audio, talking to these people, telling that he will cover up the investigations, telling that they'll tell the investigators to back off. So this resignation or decision not to run, not a resignation, but the decision not to run is not the end of the story. The fraud story doesn't end there. To me, it's really just beginning. And thankfully, there's a very good prosecutor in the state that is relentless. So hopefully they'll get it cleaned up. I think
maybe, except for remember that little thing about blue slips? Now you know why they don't want to get blue slips away, because the prosecutor had to get approved by Amy Klobuchar and whatever else his name is. Right. And so that's the prosecutor that would be hauling Governor Tim Walz off to jail. Now, again, it's all so embarrassing everywhere you look.
People who one is finished. Why you take it?
I'm sorry?
Why you take it picture? What?
So it seems like they're up and operating today.
2:30. Crying all. Okay. Right now is gone.
That's good.
Only me 3.
She's taking millions of dollars from the taxpayer, though, to feed
for the driver?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, I'm waiting driver.
What kind of things do you guys do with the seniors?
Yeah.
Because, like, I have grandparents as well, and I want to know how I can keep them happy and occupied.
Yes, everything.
Yeah. So what kind of...
In the morning, breakfast, fruits, everything I'm eating.
Really?
All people.
Uh-huh.
Second is a lunch.
Wow.
Everybody lunch. If you want it, you take it home.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what kind of games do you guys play? Or
A lot of game. Really? It's their game. Just for a lot of names.
Yeah.
But I don't speak good.
Can I sing for this?
Office hours.
No one comes. There's
and
nobody
their
here.
Operating hours. Not saying anything, but I'm not allowed in, and there's no seniors here.
It's also really convenient that they can just put on full face coverings to hide their identity at any moment. But what's wrong with recording? I can't hear you through your
everything. It's all of them. Like I challenge anybody to do this. Go find a Somali or an Iranian or a Haitian daycare or healthcare center or autism spectrum transportation. There's no customers. There's nobody getting benefit. All of them. None of them. Find one that has maxed out the kids for childcare. They don't exist. I mean, at this point, hundreds of these daycares have been visited. Washington State, videos. Ohio, videos. Maine, California, Nevada, Utah, Idaho, obviously Minnesota. Over and over and over again. It's got some weird sign. Nobody's there. Parking lots are empty. Residential neighborhoods.
Phone number
Capitol
going
Hill
nowhere.
Police officers' wives are running multi-million-dollar daycares. What the hell are we doing as normal small business entrepreneurs? We've completely missed the boat. Completely.
Well, we
missed the
didn't
boat.
know.
I had no idea. Imagine what it would be like, Ron, to run a restaurant that served 4,000 people a day for food. 4,000 people. That is the entire crowd of people that were there when Charlie Kirk got shot, right? Imagine running a facility that told the government you were feeding 4,000 people per day.
In December of 2021, the FBI installed a surveillance camera overlooking this building just off Lake Street in Minneapolis. At the time, it was Safari Restaurant, which overall took in $12 million in federal child meal payments through Feeding Our Future. Safari's former co-owner, Salim Saeed, is on trial alongside Amy Bach, the Feeding Our Future executive director. Safari claimed to feed 4,000 to 6,000 kids a day. Its invoices and meal counts shown to the jury alongside the video. An FBI agent testifying that an average of 40 people came and went during the 6 weeks it was surveilled.
40 free meals, and you can feed an average of 40 people today. But you're telling the government it's 4,000 to 6,000.
They could feed all the homeless too,
dude.
All of them.
It boggles the mind, the amount of fraud that's happening. The people that I consult with that have challenges with the IRS and stuff like that, I mean, lose sleep over $3,000 requests, $1,000, $10,000, losing sleep. Am I going to go to jail? I don't want to lose my house. Baby, you don't got nothing to worry about. You are so low on their list of priorities, assuming they have an actual North Star and a compass.
Right, but they
you
don't.
think they would go to that fraud before they'd get down to your...
Yeah, but they don't.
No, of course not. Because they always go after the people who are willing to pay.
Exactly.
They weaponize your virtue. Oh, you're willing to stop at the stop sign? Definitely stop.
Exactly.
Right? You have to go back to Stephen Miller.
Law-abiding citizens are way easier to fleece.
Way easier to fleece. And how do they fleece you? How do they get you to be
law-abiding? They just tell you to pay.
Put you in public school, your spirit, tell you the whole time to sacrifice yourself for the good of the people. You know, unbelievable. Now, down in Wall Street, one of the things we always say is the bank does get paid. Wall Street investors who stuck with Venezuela are poised for a payday. So every country sells bonds for their currency. Venezuela hasn't had a whole lot of payback on their bonds the last couple of years, but there are some serious investment companies that are holding on to millions and millions of dollars in old bonds that are looking to get a payday here, which again goes to influence. Why does the United States do what they're doing? Well, the number one job of the United States is to uphold the money system, right? Which means contracts have to be paid because we don't have gold and silver for money anymore. All money is a contract. So contracts become very sacred. Okay. Last thing we're going to do here is hear from Stephen Miller, and then we're going to jump over into private and hear from Patrick Byrne. So this is Stephen Miller basically saying, this is kind of his wrap up with Jake Tapper.
Thank you, Sean, for leading the month-long effort to end the CNN boycott of yours truly. And so very fittingly, and it wasn't planned this way, but the boycott ended today, and I'm here tonight in the aftermath of the first CNN interview, in which I think we can safely say that Jake Tapper didn't have what he needed to handle my my responses.
I would say that's the case. All right, you are being considered for a more elevated role in managing the post-Maduro Venezuela. The president did say that we got to create a stable country before, obviously, there would be elections and a new leader, correct?
Well, one of the lessons we've learned from history, Sean, is that the priority in the aftermath of any kind of change in government in a country, particularly one with a challenging recent past, is stability. So the president very wisely is understanding, and he spoke very eloquently and movingly at the recent press conference at Mar-a-Lago about the bright future awaiting the Venezuelan people. And so his priority right now is on security, prosperity, stability. So he is working round the clock to get Venezuela's oil industry.
So Trump knows a little something about taking over for a country that was just captured by a cartel. Security,
like
prosperity, then elections, right? Is that not the pattern Trump has done in 2025? Get that border closed, get the seeds planted for prosperity, right? That's the same pattern.
Up and running to where it needs to be in a way that only America, and this is very important, only the United States, with our technology, our platforms, our resources can provide. That will bring security to our hemisphere, security to America. It will lower the price of gas, it will lower the price of oil, but it will bring an incredibly bright, predictable, stable future to the people of Venezuela. And so I think it's really exciting when you think about the fact that if we can just deliver this interim period of security and stability, that the citizens of Venezuela are looking at a future that a short time ago they could scarcely imagine, Sean.
A lot of people don't know that it was American companies that built out the oil infrastructure going back to the 1920s.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're back. Again, contracts are sacred. So that's a good sign. Unlike every other regime change where you lead by, let's topple the government, and then all the Thomas Jeffersons will just show up at, Cairo, and we'll create a new constitution, and everybody will go off into the sunset. No, that's not how it happens, right? What was the continuity in 1776? The state governments. Your life in Virginia wasn't all that different from 1765 to 1795, right? You pretty much dealt with the town constable and you dealt with your local stuff, right? That's kind of the same thing. But when we come into these other countries and we topple them completely, nobody knows where to get their driver's license. Nobody knows who to pay their taxes to. Nobody knows who's going to pay the teacher at the local school. You see what I'm saying? So Trump is smart to do what he's done with Venezuela the way he's done it. And I guess we just get to watch from afar. Ooh, we got a good coffee one there.
Yeah.
1775 coffee.
Absolutely. Still haven't tried 1775 coffee? Now is your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped. Only 1,000 units. You're getting the bold dark roast that hits hard, the smooth medium roast, then the vitality mushroom coffee for clean energy and laser focus, no crash. All single origin, small batch, toxin free and mold free. Plus, you're also getting a gold spoon clip because freedom isn't scooped with plastic. A frother strong enough to strip your coffee and your mother-in-law's opinions, and a black 1775 tumbler. It's $170 worth of gear and coffee, yours for $99. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 blow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler, it is. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something just like Rumble does.
Woohoo! And we are running with like almost 40 people total watching, which, wow, you hate to throw your numbers out there because you're not like a show with, I'm looking over here at Benny Johnson with 22,000 people listening. But, really good and a good Rumble crowd. Please, if you haven't chatted on Rumble and you're listening on Rumble, we've got plenty of people listening. Go in and say hi in the chats. Do it real quick, last second. It's super important. We have to have so many chatters every month. And, we want to get to our goal before we have to beg for chats at the end.
Maybe share it with your mother-in-law.
Pimping for chats. Yeah, exactly. Fraser, Taylor and Ron, you have 25 active viewers. I know. I was just saying. Thank you for pointing it out. A delay here.
Thank you.
Very fun. We should probably do a raid, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Let me,
do it.
We got to do a raid. Let me find someone to raid. Let's go Republican politics, right-wing politics. Let's see. We got Ohio political news, Jimmy Lake Unleashed. Who's Jimmy Lake? Let's see what he's got going on.
Podcast and streamcast.
Yeah, let's go
it's the
say hi to
Lakey
Jimmy
Unleashed
Lake. Okay,
Road.
Ron, you ready for this?
Yeah, send me a thingy.
We have a whole communication system between Ron and I.
Yeah, it never fails, right?
We are smooth operators. Okay, we are going to be chatting over with Jimmy Lakey Unleashed daily update. So raid inbound from the peasants' perspective.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
They're gone.
Everybody go say hi. Go say hi in the raid. That was awesome. Port Ange Hunter. I assume it's Port Angeles Hunter, and you and I need to figure out who you are because we should go hunting in Port Angeles. How can any kid? Well, I'm reading their chats now. I'll just show you. See, you guys made it over there. Obnoxious Scott, who's one of their chatters. You guys got to go in there and chat. Peasant Stream has rated this show. What's Jimmy saying?
Show. It's going to be a live event. This is our first one. We're going back to where we had our first live event.
Well, we got to do that. We got to do a road show.
20th.
He had like 6 people watching.
And
he's doing a road show. We should do a lot of road
the
shows.
Casbar Cigar Lounge.
Where's he going?
45.
He's
The show
going
will start
to Lafayette, Colorado.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Very cool. All right,
bro.
peasants. Thank you for going over there. I see Pony Boy and Frazier went and made their comments. That's great. Thank you so much. Okay, we are going to jump over into private, and then we're going to hear a little bit from Alex Jones and Patrick Byrne.